ever wondered why the market always goes against you? Many times after you've bought a share, then share prices started to drop. Is it because that the market doesn't like you? How do we overcome this situation then? M Plus Wiz, which alerts on potential entry for trending stocks, might do the trick for you. Is that all for the Wiz feature? Not at all. To find out more, please visit us at mplusonline.com/wiz. Have you ever wondered why the market always goes against you? Many times after you've bought a share, then share prices started to drop. Is it because that the market doesn't like you? How do we overcome this situation then? M Plus Wiz, which alerts on potential entry for trending stocks, might do the trick for you. Is that all for the Wiz feature? Not at all. To find out more, please visit us at mplusonline.com/wiz.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to M Plus Online with highlights for the day. And I think today itself, it will be a bit um, uh, sentiment is a bit negative right now. And I think we will try to drill down on what are the reasons behind it and what are the potential highlights that we can actually capture from at least the stock market or the trading platform right now. My name is Louis. I'll be bringing you through the whole session. And let's look into at one glance, what do you think about the stock market today? Okay, so first of all, KLCI has been down. So this is quite clear cut that has been, seeing some follow through selling interest since last week. There was three consecutive trading day of a down day after the MSCI rebalancing. Then we noticed that today itself it has been selling pressure has came in, and this is part and parcel of Wall Street's negative sentiment. And Wall Street, we can actually talk about this Wall Street because Wall Street has been rebounding quite strongly, but it was quite stagnant last week, and it did not really see strong follow through interest in buying interest. So why is it is reacting in this manner? So I can pinpoint to maybe just two reasons. One is because people might anticipate a more hawkish tone, and there is no pause in terms of the rising interest rate cycle down the road. Okay, so which means that every now and then people are anticipating at least 0.25% increase or 0.5% increase in the Federal Reserve meeting. Okay. Second thing is that the inflationary pressure could also dampen the buying power for the mass population, and also therefore translating to potential slowdown in earnings. So that could actually come into the picture, which is the recession. So these two are actually, keep on resisting or hindering people from buying into the stock market, and therefore stock market has been rebounding quite strongly earlier 2 weeks ago, but it has stagnant last week on Wall Street, and therefore the spillover effect from the sell down or profit taking activities has came in to Malaysia's stock exchange. Therefore, it has quite heavy selling again today on Malaysia's stock market. So that is why it sums up all in a few words, which is the recession fear and also the rising interest rate cycle. That is not so good for the near-term stock market activities. So, what are the rest that can be played throughout this day? Because we noticed that a few things quite obvious is the oil price and also the CPO prices are still strong, are still on the way up. But the energy and the plantation are down for now. Okay, so we can see that despite all the strong earnings and they have been seeing over the past quarter, right now it seems like it is on the way down. And in terms of energy sector, we are still looking into some of them, but not as strong as before. So one thing to take note is that um, all these inflationary pressures are due to this crude oil price hike and also the plantation, CPO prices going up. So what if right now they might anticipate things to change going down the road? Say, for instance, the Ukraine and Russia tension subsides, and therefore people might be anticipating softer, okay, softer in terms of the crude oil price, in terms of the CPO price. Therefore, that could actually translate to sell down phase in plantation and energy sector. So people might be wondering whether could that be a reason, for people to sell down the stocks right now. But I would say, definitely plantation and energy stocks earnings will be strong. Right now, it's about the sentiment, whether people will believe that the Ukraine-Russia tension continues to trade longer, and if yes, then perhaps we can actually see some short-term trading plays ahead of their results, which is in the month of August. Maybe 1-2 weeks before the results, people would hike up the shares, then sell off the shares after the results is out. So that could be another way of people playing these two sectors. But one thing that to take note is the consumer, utilities, and transportation and logistics are still healthy. Healthcare, not too sure whether is it because of monkeypox is getting nearer to Malaysia, because it's the first case has been detected in Singapore as well. So that could be the reason people are trading on glove counters. So glove counters are up today, could be due to that because we are getting nearer and nearer towards the monkeypox. Okay, so what areas that we can actually focus, which is I think the consumer. I think transportation and logistics will have some strong follow through due to the recent results was very strong, and I think there could be follow through because the supply disruption is still not resolved, which means the recent um, relaxation of SOP or lockdown measure in China just started, and that would mean also the demand is also stronger, which means that after the upliftment, demand is stronger. So which means that there could be higher demand or pent up demand in this area, transportation and logistic, and also Russia and Ukraine tension could be also another factor that is contributing to the supply disruption as of this juncture. So all these add up into making the freight or freight and forwarding prices, shipping costs, charter rates are elevated, and therefore that is making a scene so far for the transportation and logistics sector. So this might bring up their earnings, and this is not being focused by a lot of retailers or even traders or even investors. They might take a huge chunk on this transportation and logistics going forward. So that is just my view on the supply disruption. But again, and we also want to mention that there could be uh, incident whereby when oil prices goes up even higher, some shipping companies might go into cash flow issue because they are uh, they are actually using higher fuel costs, which means that if they have 10 tankers or shipping boats that earlier on, right now they need to feed them with higher costs in terms of the fuel prices. Therefore they might go into this so-called cash flow situation. If some of these cash flow issues are affecting the transportation and logistic companies, some might shut down, and therefore the orders that they are handling early on could goes into backlog, and that would also means supply disruption continues, and it is a downward spiral. It is a vicious cycle. Okay, so that could be another narrative that people are using to trade transportation and logistics, making sure that if this sector is going up strongly, as in demand is going up strongly, or supply is dwindling, but demand is remains the same at that status quo level, that would also mean higher, I mean, elevated charter rates or shipping rates, at least for the near term. Okay. Another sector that you can look at would be utilities. Utilities is definitely good when there is a recession, which means that when recession comes in, people will still need to use gas. People will still need to use electricity. So YTL Power, Gas Malaysia, Malakoff, Tali Work, oil. Sorry, the water and also gas, power, electricity. All these are being used, and therefore that could be why people are being conservative and trade into that sector. Okay, so my feeling is that today's mood is definitely not great. Down 0.5%, volume is up 1.5 b, value is only zero point 0.8 billion, and the market breadth is still negative. Losers are greater than gainers, so which means that sentiment is not great. So where do we stand? At this point of time, where we have chosen some of the stocks earlier on, and right now, what are those stocks that has been contributing to this current move right now? Okay, so let's maybe I share another screen on my charts and see whether did we predicted so-called correctly for now. Okay, so shipping, we did put in shipping, in the our stock picks today, this morning. It has triggered us about 42.5 towards 43.5. Right now it's sideways. I believe there could be more upside on SYS Corp. Uh, Based on the daily chart, it is quite interesting. It is still going up, and I think there are still more chance of this stock going up even higher, breaking above the previous high around the 44.5. Do note that they are near towards their peak over the past 3 to 5 years. So that is a very interesting chart pattern that you should be monitoring because the earnings just went very strongly above all the past quarterly results. So assuming that people are still banking on the shipping industry, this might be one of the stocks that you have to take note of going forward. So you can see that the strong results came in recently, 31st of yeah 30th of March, 30th of May, and then it has been quarter year on year basis. It is jumping by near to tenfold. So what I'm seeing here right now is definitely a potential breakout, and also if you look into this, might be the triangle formation breakout. So just hang on. I think there are still more upsides to Syscorp. Okay, so alerts wise, this got it correct. SDS is under the consumer sector. It went up, breaking out above the 40 cents towards 41 cents, but right now it is just staying sideways. Um, People are saying that wheat prices goes up when they are getting hit by all these raw material costs. But one thing to take note is that they can always revise price, and bread always a necessity. Okay, so SDS has a bread segment, and also they have these retail restaurants as well. So which means that they are benefiting from the recovery play and also benefiting from the necessity play. And people really can't afford other food, they can actually buy bread, and no matter what, they have to buy something to eat. Okay, so bread could be something very important in their daily lives, and therefore they will still continue to buy despite price hike going forward. So 34 cents breakout pullback and continuation pattern head up towards the 40 cents level. My forecast will be around 43 to 48.5 will be the next target for SDS. Okay, the other one is Petron M. It has went up, breaking out above previous day's high at 743. Highest point was at 773. So we have put in this Petron M this morning. So it has triggered us about 30 cents range of trading, which is near towards the 3 to 5% return, at least for the morning session. Although it has came off, but at least it has garnered us a very good entry to trigger us at least 3 to 5% return for this particular stock. Other than that, we did put in some technology stocks. We hoped for a rebound play, but it didn't trigger us anything, so we are quite safe on that. Chapat, I think it should be trading slightly higher, but it is still not strong enough. So this is just a recovery team player. We just want to put in, just in case, down the road it becomes traders lease for this particular counter, then it might trigger down the road towards a higher position above the 1 ringgit or even 1 ringgit and 10 cents level. Okay, but right now so far doesn't have any trigger. Frontcan and also Genetech also similarly no trigger. We thought that if there is some good breakout opportunity in within the tech sector, then the volatile interest should be strong. But Genetech seems like quite well protected since the morning. There is not much of selling pressure. I believe it could be due to the news. Article that was published um, over the weekend in the Edge Weekly. So people could be still believing in the EV story. And also bear in mind they are serving all the big clients on the EV segments. And also EV is getting nearer to Malaysia as well. Although it is not in Malaysia, but at least Tesla is going to set up in Indonesia. if there is a case whereby um, Tesla is setting up there, and when the factory is operating, Genotech could also benefit out of this situation. So I think under EV section, I think it's still quite interesting to take note that there are still opportunities to trade. Okay, so I think Genotech worthwhile to look at it going forward. Okay, Minho, it's about the wood-based related counter. It is still hovering above the SMA 200 is trying to break out, pull back, and continue above the 34 cents level. So right now, it did not form a very significant sell-down phase. Although this morning's value is very little, it has been quite sustainable above 34 cents. So as long as it is hovering above 34 cents, I think we should take note that there could be some rebound towards higher position around 37.5 or even 38 cents level for Minho. Okay, so these are the stocks that we have put in under daily picks. So before I go into the Q&A section, I think I hope that you all have been satisfied for our previous webinars, and please also click on the like button and make sure you have shared this video out in your circles of friends. Make sure they have benefited out of it as well. If you have a sharer badge under your comments above your name, then you are able to ask a question, and then we will take your questions at the end of this session. Okay, so make sure you have share and get a sharer badge, and that will help you to ask a question, and we will review your stocks by then. Okay, I've getting some questions. Later on, I'll take it from there. But before I go into the Q&A section, I want to also go through the traders list, because today itself, our few of our stocks picks didn't really trigger us anything. Only three of them: Syscorp, SDS, and Petroleum. So what if you want to trade something else, but there is some good signals in it? You can always go back to traders list and find all those stocks that are being mentioned here. And let's see, Petron, SDS, Gas Malaysia. I think Gas Malaysia is like what I mentioned. It is also necessity. People under this situation will also need to use gas to cook things. So basically, they are benefited out of this situation. Earlier financial results shows that there are improvements in all these quarterly results, and therefore people are buying into this story of Gas Malaysia, and therefore it is making a good progress. Just that right now it is forming a flag formation. It has breakout this morning, but sell down phase also quite rampant. Volume is quite strong, given that this scenario is a pullback, and the only half a day, it is already garnering about Friday's volume. So if you multiply that times two, this would be near towards 1 million or even 1.4 million shares being traded for the session. So this is quite huge. But one thing, as of this juncture, is still uptrend. Flag formation has been coming in. So if you are trading on this counter, you might want to hold on to it until it breaches the 306 level. Okay. Great Tech. Yeah, trying to break out, but selling pressure continue to mount on this chart itself, and Great Tech does not look good if it doesn't cross above 4 ringgit zone. So 4 ringgit zone will be the part whereby it needs to give some good attention to. So let's move on to another share. Armada has been good after the result has been in since this part of the day. It has rallied from 41.5 towards 46 cents level. It has been continued sideways move. Right now, it is quite clear that the oil price is still up. The unresolved trade tension is still there. Unresolved Ukraine and Russia tension is still there. And therefore, I think it is quite likely for this to continue trade higher due to this higher crude oil price environment. Okay. So other than that, Heng Yuan is also up. Heng Yuan, let me check. Okay, Heng Yuan on the daily chart itself. Let's see. It has pulled back after the after the results, and right now it has been just staying sideways near to 640. I see this as a good consolidation because it has covered this gap here and it has covered this gap here. So it's actually waiting for a potential breakout. As long as it is still uptrend in tech position, I think we are worthwhile looking at a breakout going on forward about the 6 ringgit 45 cents onwards. Okay. Eno, okay, Eno, it's also selling off, despite just a sideways move. We thought that it can break out and continue upwards, but seems like the volume is quite huge. And I think plantation sector might deviate, share price might deviate from the earnings. So going forward, there could be earnings coming in strongly, but the share price might go down. Okay, so that could be the idea. BJ Food, you can see that BJ Food we have been putting in, I think, a few days back. And BJ Food has been breaking out above the 4 ring at 50. Right now it's 4 ring at 80, near to almost 7% return. And yeah, I think BJ Food can still sustain. I think based on the current structure here, it is trying to break out above the previous high, which is around the 4 ring at 85 cents. This morning hit 4 ring at 89 cents. So it is trying to break higher highs formation, and hopefully that it can sustain higher position, perhaps towards 5 ringgit or even 520 or even 560. But again, it is stretched since the results 2 quarters ago from 2 ring at 20 to 4 ring at 80. So it's more than doubled. Okay, more than doubled, and therefore any upward movement might attract selling pressure. And you can see that volume has been quite soft on the way up. So you have to take note on the potential selling pressure that comes in going forward. Padini, it's on the way up as well. Strong breakout above the 3 ringgit 50 cents level. Recent results was out and it has rallied since then. So perhaps the result has been quite decent. Yeah, 32 million versus 12 million. That's a very good result. See, quite a year to date. Yeah, 76 versus 43. So it's definitely a very good, strong result. So I think it can sustain going forward. Okay. Orion, we did put in, I think last week, I think on this part of the day, 740, right now it's 797, also near to more than 5% gain, near to 10% going forward. I think Matrix also under our watch list earlier on. I think this was due to the very strong dividend yield that is quite sustainable over the years. And the results, although is slightly weaker, but I think people are treating this as so-called the dividend play company. And breakout pullback and continuation pattern happened above the 2 ring at 40 cents level, and another round above the 2 ring at 45 cents. So this is another round of flag formation breakout. Hopefully this could sustain, and the share price may visit 2 ring at 60 or even the 2 ring at 80 cents going forward. As long as the dividends are still quite intact, I see no reason for this to sell down. Okay, over the years you can see that since Matrix starting at 70 over cents level, right now it's already 4 times, and this is after all the dividends returns. Okay, 4 times, fourfold in terms of share price and also dividend in total. Okay, so these are some of the ideas. If you don't have anything that could pick under daily pick, you can also choose under traders list for some of the triggered lists. Okay, so we have go through why did we pick those daily stocks selections, and what are other stocks that you can trade using the traders list, and we have gone through it, and most of them are quite interestingly still on the way up at least. So those that counters are still on the way up. I think we can make sure that you look at it continuously, because those are the uptrend counters that continue will break out if the team is coming back. Okay, so those are the things that you have to take note under our traders list and also daily picks. So let's go into the stock selection, stock Q&A section. So some people ask about MFLA, and I believe that a lot of people are wondering whether the FLA is increasing in price could actually help them. I think yes, it can help them on a very short-term basis. But looking at longer term, if they are continuing to buy higher raw material, which is the wheat is going higher and higher, that will also hurt their earnings margins going forward. So what I'm trying to pinpoint to you here is that results might be dampened, might be dampened by the raw material cost, which is wheat prices going forward. If it is too high, they can't pass on quickly. That might give them a suffering time. So, for instance, like for during this period of time, it has went up from 17 million to 20 million in terms of year-on-year numbers. But despite the good results, it did not trigger them, breaking out slightly higher towards at least above the SMA 200. So why is it so? Because people are afraid that they might have the inflationary pressure whereby wheat prices is higher. When they buy their wheat, turning it into process it into flour, that could also dampen their earnings. So if you notice that situation, you might not want to have a lot of positions, especially in the previous quarter. It is also yeah. So let's check earlier quarterly results during the good days. Actually, they are not actually making good in terms of their earnings as well. So right now they might be affected in my view, unless they can actually cross above the SMA 200, which is around the 67.5 cents. Then perhaps we have a good opportunity to look at it. Okay. So other than that, we can actually look at some of the questions there. RHB, okay, RHB can comment on, yeah, certainly we can comment on banks, because banks definitely is going with the interest rate upcycle. So therefore, people will continue to buy onto it and expect further upside from the banks counters going forward. Why is it so? Because when Bank Negara hike the OPR rate, they will also get a little bit of margin adjustment on the higher side for at least that particular 3 months or so. And therefore, that could actually translate to higher earnings, and that could translate to higher potential dividends being paid going forward. So that is just a narrative behind it. But again, it is also tagging along with the economy recovery. So if you are looking at a stronger recovery tone in Malaysia, then this could actually bode well. Okay, bode well for the bank counters. But if you have a narrative of recession might be coming, then you might not want to buy into banks for at least 6 to at least 12 months. So that is just how you want to play your narrative, and what are the chances of us getting into recession, and that would also give you an understanding of whether you should buy or not buy into these counters. Okay. So in terms of the support resistance, it will be located around this range, 5 ringgit 80 cents level, or even the near term one would be 5 ringgit 88 cents. But I would think that is pretty tricky. So I would use about the 5 ringgit 69, 5 ringgit 70 zone as the first support. And for the resistance, I would look at further upside towards potentially 608 or even 640 range for the time being. I believe that it is still an uptrend position, and a lot more times that Bank Negara can also hike going forward, because since that we know that the Federal Reserve is going to increase interest rate by at least 5 to 7 times down the road, that could also impact the whole global central bankers to increase the interest rate in tandem as well. So if people are increasing at a rate of 7 times, and that would devalue, or our ringgit Malaysia would weaken. Therefore, if Bank Negara wants to defend that situation, they should also increase the OPR rate. So that's how we look at this structure here. Okay, another question is related to HSI. Let me pull out the HSI chart for the time being. Wait, hold on a second. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, so for those that have asked questions but don't have a sharer badge, make sure you have shared this video out, so that people can actually look at the video, and that could help us in getting exposed into various crowds, and also make sure that you have also put in your questions, and also share the video out. Okay, let me share this screen for now. Okay, let's go into HSI. Okay, HSI seems like quite steady. It has been going up since 26th of May and jump up, gap up in tandem, I think, with the US. But there is also a narrative saying that, if US is not doing well, China should do well. If China is doing well, not doing well, then US should do well. So in this scenario, it could be the same as whereby Wall Street did not do well, and right now China is actually, or China or Hang Seng Index is actually going up. So given that scenario, we are also looking at the charts. It seems like it is quite positive on the way up, and it might hit around this range here. We are still positive on China or Hang Seng stocks due to the reopening, or they are reducing the lockdown measure right now. So perhaps the range will be around the 22,000 level, towards the 22,400 points, and support will be located around the 21,000 level zone. Okay, so this will be the support and resistance for Hang Seng Index. So one more questions that just put it in to our comment section. I think Anum Berhad is actually on the way down. Definitely is not looking that great. I think um, it I'm not too sure whether it will break the downtrend line, but certainly it is not looking that well. I wouldn't put my money into this kind of stocks, given that the trend line is still quite far away from the share price, 39 cents level towards 46.5. So if you want to really trade on this counter, you may want to look at the rebound play towards maybe just 43.5. I would say that the chances of going down is still quite high, because it came up from, I think, about 23 to 30 cents level. That is the support that we are looking at on the longer term time frame. Okay, so support resistance located around the 38 cents towards the 46 cents level. Okay, another last question, I think it was Power Root. Just as I mentioned earlier on the Bonia, BJ Food, Orient, those are the counters that we have been putting in for the consumer sector. So the earnings has came in for Power Root. It has been going up since then. I think this is trying to chase, or this is playing a catch up in view that BJ Food is going up. So I believe Power is still having some good positive move under the consumer sector, and therefore the next target should be perhaps around 185. 180 to 185. Support is located around the 1 ring and 60 cents zone. Okay, so we did put it in a few rounds in previous few weeks, but it didn't trigger until recently. It has went up even higher from 165 towards 177 within 3 to 4 trading days. Okay, so I still think that consumer sector deserve a very good position for entering, and this is also above the SMA 200 level. So I think we should take note on that. Okay. So overall, I think consumer sector is still quite defensive, and there are still a lot of gems that you can take note of for now. And hopefully you have, gathered enough information from my session today. And if you like all these, webinars and highlights that we bring out to you, make sure you give us a feedback, such as the like button, and also the share the video out to your circles of friends. Okay, so that will be it for this session. Thank you so much. I hope that you all trade wisely going forward, because it might be some storm. I mean, the calm before the storm ahead, that people might sell even further in the stock markets. in technology stocks or whatever stocks, but just follow the trend of uptrend counters, and make sure you are buying dips on the uptrend and not the buying dips on the downtrend phase. Okay, that will be harder, and the probability will be hard, lower for you to make money. Okay, so thank you so much for the time, and see you again next week. Thank you, and bye bye.